bosome no edinefua mako eduenu enkron wafimpimienu ene eduenunum emu enwumre no nsia abo mama wajo na mensanso mo akraba emla enwumre no nsia kasebo eso kasebo no yestumi live on Facebook and so at my CTVG ho follower na wa like afesu we pia share this so e de ama wunua na wono so enya bi ahwe sema hodo a me de eso mo no ya hwene a ebedi akotene e wo kasebo ni mu ebi Elvis Efriye Accra e de atudwa ya wo kire se mampeni gina ese ya wesie se ye beyi dakro e de esi ho na ye de adanyame ase asan so e de abom paye no gina ese yi e ade se e beboa wo man ne pa Mesiri krache e ma dehia wo mo e wo achiase e de adesrede ato eye Ghana amino animo se safeso na se wo mo e fanipa won we se won beja slot aduanu bi e de ama emebuna wo mo e wo achiase Wodwedie eni sikasem kasebo emu no abetodwa se Youth Employment Agency office a e wo ebuakwa north wono mo no wo mo e de ka ne se wunto mo nkania no yetwam Wakasie boy mo yedo ebe konkrofo kro eni enkrofo amai eso yedo ebe ko Gaza mai no emu na ekuo bi a wo mo ewo Paris wono mo no e trese sede antokwa e ma no homusa na ekoso ewo Gaza mai no emu no ehu behia se wo mo ede ntokwa ni nyina no ebeba ewieye na adwobro aba Ensam no ebika we ho gibre na memfa ensomo se enwumre no nsia kase ba wo CTV Ghana's #1 eso manye no waki eni medin enwumre yi mene ochiame Medase afi ensem no sei na emu entremo no etie mampeni John Dramani Mahama ebetena so biom no wadi tudwa etrese ade se ebeyi dabi edesi ho ye no ye de ebebompa na yasanso ede adanyame ase wasomdwe ya o my Ghana ye wono enti wenam so ama wonimonyamfo Elvis Efriye Accra wabo mampeni abaso wasagina esie ho wo kire se gina esie no ade se ebebo wo man no pa ama nkabom etumi aba wo kire se dwumade ebeboa ama nipa dodo na aka wo ho abomu emfa ho ene asori awoko anasa tribe odom.
Today we stand before you not as politicians or professionals but as citizens with a burden and as believers in the soul of our nation. By the inspired leadership and moral conviction of His Excellency, our President, John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, July 1st has been instituted as Ghana's National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. It's a bold and unifying decision that invites all of us, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or political affiliation, to gather around a single fire of purpose, gratitude, and hope. This is a sacred moment, and it comes to us under a profound national theme: reflect, reset, and renew for national prosperity. We are challenged to reset, to abandon the culture of blame, greed, and impunity, and apathy, and embrace truth, discipline, and a shared sense of duty. Because we cannot continue doing things the same way and expect different results.
Chebiana from 3 students here womo ewo senior high school sahodo mo no ebetro womo wasi ensori when am so ama amrahye bedwani ema dehia womo ewo Ablekuma West onomo wonimonyamfo Reverend Kwaku Ado akonsrahye ewo St Margaret Mary Senior High School akohye adesuafo yinkunan se wobra womo ebetro so we se womo besua de na watro so asan so etwa ne yi
This is what we call the subject interaction with the BEC students. What happens over the time is that it's a tradition that has been in this constituency. Before they write the BEC, we bring them together. We get experienced facilitators to come and take them through the exam taking techniques, because the teachers have taught them, the parents have done whatever they have to do. Now, learning and passing exams are two different things. So now there's a period for the past 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and today, where you see we've gone to about 4 sites or centers. We split the children into those groups and in quadrants so that they can have the interaction with experienced teachers. And what they do is that every day or so they take a subject or two. The teacher spends time with them. For instance, like math, what the examiner is looking out for. It's not just getting the answer, the steps you need to go through and how they calculate to give you grade. You understand how and how much maybe when you do a proper graph, the amount it carries. So the children can get a good perspective of what they are going to face. Important day because the well-being, the confidence, and the caliber of women we want to raise up, I think this is the things we can do to encourage them. Because when you look, I watched a documentary where a girl said when she is menstruating, she doesn't go to school. So if truly is for the 5 days, that means that whole 5 days she misses class. If someone goes to school because they even know and they think they are menstruating, they don't want to project themselves even in answering questions in class or partaking in anything that goes on. So after today's program, I'm sure they will all be excited within themselves, have their confidence built up, have the ease that they need to be able to excel as women.
Nananom atrankonwa ene empenifo bi a womo ewo achiase de womo asase ama asrafo a womo ewo achiase ene ne potemo we nam so ama mensiri krache e ma dehia womo ewo achiase wode monyafo Samuel Brakon e de adesrede ato eye Chief of Army Staff Major General LK Betanu enimo se afibia womo e fa nipa adwuma manase wasere adwuma nimu a o se womo ebeja slot adwanu bi e de ama mebuna womo ewo achiase.
As a district executive in our farm, they are welcome to our chance. As a Casadona will be before, but I'm district chief executive officer for our chance district. Our president Mahama, so Amayunian said we are resetting the country. Now, I have one, the Juma, Eddie Punto, Abba Ghana. Now, in business, so any Juma, a paper, a boss in the mouth. Chief said, the one has a if you are military jungle, to say, we know, a artificial jungle, so a natural jungle, and chance a mama. And say, I will check for you in your castle. So, what a chance to do really important. We will not cross one of a dear Damakuma City, I say, public is let me have one of the women to my head. As a master, and now I'm we are making money before the shows that the mother coming down to say. First of as a matter of agency, not wine, chance in a slot every year. I will be at least 20 every year. Every year, you look at what we do this. I bet that military now, so I'm say, military base never
Enchebia adehia womo ewo nungwa ebedi womo afahye na afibia nsa na womo ebedi afahye no wodi nkan eko oyibi ekofa ebro ya we no womo eya na mane ene amamre kwanso woko a enya de se womo ehye empabo mpo na nanu ada womo edisa adwumade ehye so a wakofa ebro no ede efiri oyibi na mpo ansa na obedu enungwa kro ni mu no womo ejirejina ewo nkro na se bro na hodo bi so mpo ansa na womo abedu nungwa kro ni mu.
That's why we are happy today. You know that the youths are now getting involved in these cultural activities. Hitherto, you call them, they don't come. You need to go and beg them, plead with them, convince them so much before they come. But today, we are not calling them; they are coming themselves. So it means that people are getting to understand the culture and the customary and cultural practices of the area. Now, people think that it is you are worshiping a deity. No, that is how we came. We as Gans, when we were coming, we were caught with hunger. That's what we call home or war. So after we were liberated from the hunger, we had enough food, abundant food, and we ate. So that's why we say home or war. We are hooting at hunger. You understand? We are hooting at the hunger that struck, and people died. People couldn't survive. A few that survived came down here. So now we are hooting at the hunger that struck that time. We entreat all the youth in the Gadangme community, from Teshi, La, Osu, Gamashi, all the 7 quarters that they Sempe, Abula, Sre, Bese, and all of them. When you get to the eastern part, we have Tema, Ko, Pram, Lingo, Adan, all the way to Adan. So we are entreating all the youth to get involved in their AFI, their Homo. Everyone must get involved so that they know what is happening. They know what is on the ground. They know the custom and practice of the traditional area. So that when it gets to their time to take over from the elders, they will not be found wanting. And we are happy that everybody is getting involved. So they should continue to get involved for the benefit of Gadangme.
Mpenifo a wɔn ɛwɔ kasoa ɛkyerɛ sɛ traffic na dɔɔso paa ɛwɔ kasoa ne nyinaa ɛnam adetɔnfo a wɔtɔn adeɛ ɛwɔ kaa kwan ɛne pavement ahodoɔ ɛsoɔ na sɛ bɛyɛ na kaa kwan no emu ɛdabɛda hɔ ama cars etimi betwa mu wɔ kwan pa ɛsoɔ nti no bɛnsini krakye ɛma adehyɛ yi a wɔn ɛwɔ ewutu senya eastmansi ne mu no wɔn mo nyamfoɔ set saba se wɔno banini wɔde atogya a wɔkyɛ sɛ no wo bi a wɔtɔn adeɛ ɛwɔ kaa kwan mu anaasɛ pavement soɔ no yɛbɛyi wɔn nyinaa ɛde firi hɔ ɛde wɔn akɔ ɛyɛ satellite market yɛ no ɛwɔ Iron City.
Kaswa the congestion exercise na ye do come around the central business district and where munye anope na ye the congestion the pakakra bi fa ho so mo yo ye che na mo ni bebi amu kwa akoshiga wo medinka ka se ya behwe ha ye satellite market ba kwa Iron City ha na ye share plan na ase say be plan here before I been moving comfortable until traffic light issue no by. Then pay ye buy na ye be hwe mo to camera na. There are empty shelves here. Nice market I wa ha. Nipa be miensa na omo to ade omo ndru fight. Omo ha. Meanwhile no, ejadefo I was saying komo ha no, omo free ha akọ. We central businesses shedwa e wo kwan so. And so this particular visit here is to make sure say you be you nyina ba onim pavement national adwade for one enye amanyosem na enye nyina de say you be you mfro but gutters na wo pavement gutters nyina eseli last week nso eto nyina nso ni nya baby fa ntu be hwa nkofo nso fa ma me nem nyina akonnam nso ma any MP. That is the main issue a ewo ho e wo say hwe say you mfiri ho na ye nya kwan together with NADMO any other official task force na we a major distilling because that is na that is so na omo shedwa no ma yefi no ma piache that animo. These are the issues we are talking about, and so I know that from a near corner there is going to be aggressive work here. Ebema yebe create space among omo ka so so ye ko fiti ha eko central business district now. It's less than 2 minutes drive. Before Ben say Aba. And so we move them here. That in itself, the allocation of the market and I activating marketing or itself now. And then my economic value of Hassan Akosho, and it will decongest the place, make the place free of the sanitation issues. Any traffic issues. This is a project we want all of them to partner us in this.
Enyumre no nsia kase ebo na woni guso a wo share with CTV Ghana's #1 so no follow yen or Facebook and so at my CTVGH o like anwa share e de ama obi na wono so nya bia hwe to ansem no so na yenko ni mo e won sem foforo emu na abeto dwa se bridge bia e da Gomwa East and Gan South entemo ya wotimi e fa so a e kofa tuba e ba nkrampumpuni mantemo na chese sa bridge no adane owafidi a enesa ne se hunta de srade e na o manfo yi e de to aban e ne empanifo ni mo baby bi afa ho ede ama wo mo
eko Kakraba Junction sa bridge na wo ho no o say for 8 years MPP government ban o man maintenance ba kokra wo sa kwan ne so na sa road na da within Tuba any Kakraba eko no road kwan bi a serve papa na wo hwe the way a bridge ni so etoto no mesre say aban ode ne ne behwe na on farmer contractor no sure no ye oduma yen hwe ne koka iron rod no a dachi the accident ebeba that's right na from Adade Kopim main road na Winneba main road no oma sisa road no for over all about a year ni ama who free Adade inside na who ko Budu Brahma yisa wa be fa kasoa yes ana makasa kwan ne supra aye tok aye ama traffic be gina kaso kwan ne super so mesre say immediately no Minister of Road and Highways omuko hwe na omo de woduma maye
ye be say ya kwan enye baako openya no kwan so a isi so ba anyim pa na isi edi nya no eko hospital obodu na nyama de esi na ye edwedifo isi asese okro bo a okasoa ubenya no a unya ka bia mpaso baba ebesra aban a waba twa nani mehwe Gomwa East ukọ Kakraba down a bridge bi ho tama ye kaso overhead no na ho ye bush road na John Mama abaye man waya ade na ebesra se fofi anto aka no twom koy aban foforo ba ye wantuma amba mehwe ukọ wasan aba ade ne tama esei ne esan be ya na san yes kakase sisisie ye oyi ebesra John Mama any ministers any road minister any honorable ordinary abehwe ya this no wa no say on contact road minister no monhwe ye kwan no emaye ne enzu Gomwa East ye ka Ghana ho nti abana amwaye
no kwanya menimu ni kwanda enye kura kwana sei photos nkwa sena kwan ntinu uba uye kefu a una dojiwa na do ko class no ko fa azenti aba nti yesra ban say kwan mo hwe na we mai
Mensini krache ema offenso not empeso ne so hono mo woni mo nyamfo Caesar ofusu echampon na wode amwasene anasane tutba sibie de akoma adesuan forma womo ewo wiafe Akintin Senior High School na ofasa kwanya no so da desrede eto assembly nani mo se Mahama anase Mampeni John Dramani Mahama ni free sanitary pad initiative na jumede dia wode aba no omo se oba pad no de ama adesuan fo no
but enema asesa ho ehia se ahunidie mu so babu nsa eno na ama enede dan mu kina na ene meni agise meni Zion Hospital ye bedisa edawewo we ape akente SHS kase na wohum se enkane no na pad no taxi sana ewosunti na ne body NDC aban ebae Mahama say Debbie ensabu enye bone nyakopon na ehihye ni sa enti yentimi ngetwa na yenge eto wo ensabu enti sese no taxis ya na ewo pad kraso ni nyina no NDC ye bai ye yi ni nyina afi eno no HSA pad ne boa nkasa ebeba fom ama ubia atimia aiden tobi enche bia omampanyini enyansa mu no ana yaye enhyeye a ye freno free a part for student eno no yapa eho entima ye bese aban na ye me maban say distribution no ana eya ache kakra emedru assemblies no ntem na yesusu yentimi emfa emma enkwada no
Enyume no nsia kase ebo na wenugu so awo hwe we CTV Ghana's #1 so no follow yen e wo Facebook and so at my CTVGH like and wa share e de ama obi na wono so enya bia hwe nto asem no so na yenko yenimo na wabra yedi eye World Menstrual Hygiene Day ya betodwa se ekuo bia hya ban ase ya yefre wo mo Sedaf Ghana womo so e de amoasene anasa no tupa CBA e de akoma 7 junior high schools ya wo dwa ya nkwanta
Aban edi no ho ahye saa dwumadin enti Sedaf Ghana ye tai aban achi say we betu the be man Sedaf Ghana ye tai aban achi say eba menstrual pass no je sisi omuhunu che no so a ya boaba ni che no so atumi akoso eti ye frɛ aban ku woni a wonhye aban dwumadi ase nyina ni se any day no ye nyina yenkoso ara nka ye humom na dwumadi no yenhwe se obibi pe na ayinhira ama ene ye daachi eni ochina maya o baba be ye mamfo eni ayer no ama o men so atumi akọ.
I want to use this opportunity to passionately appeal to teachers and parents alike present to help inculcate such best practices or such best hygiene practices among our daughters and young sisters found within this age bracket. The issue of unaffordability in terms of acquisition of sanitary pads, which used to be a barrier for most of these young girls in observing good menstrual practices, is gradually becoming a thing of the past due to current interventions by the government. I humbly urge non-governmental organizations, corporate organizations, faith organizations, and philanthropists to assist government in this drive.
We must ensure access. This means affordable and safe menstrual products, clean and private toilets, and access to water and soap.
Yanyina yenim say ye wo insuto Ebremu wenam so ama Bono Regional Director Emma Nadmo Madam Fati Kenny e de adesrede e to awofo enimu aso bra nso eto yi no won se wo mo ebe wo ma ho ban wo bra enso eto wo pia won se wo be hye wo ntade ahodo a e wo ensa
Bono Regional Nana Secretariat sisia ni nyama e wo stock enti ni bes really say Sizi ya iwumi anansu tobre ya iwumi enyase nyina yendo koyema I think say you moto city no say prevention piece budi kan bo ho ban ansana wanya measures bia bisia beka say odi bo ho ban enti mira iwumi enye no matter enti ebesrese answer na yisu beto no ya na infirma na edikan na infirma nso a edikan ba no ya na no ediye amanfo dan so pa blocks bi no etoto form ni ekika ho nti ye besre se ensuo mu na ebedikan afro ma ebi mo refie ansana won so kram wadu ho se won so kafi na infirma ni tiwie na nsusu tuya na afi wo bebi kwa afi na wako sisi aye kase ye nhira ni nyema a stock say bia ye besisa aba ni ewo kan say ye bego dawu achira mansan si nyina ye hwe o musu ye ne hwe yo ma ewo musumi any new year, the sunset was too good more. And she done yet no more. It's the best active we need to fool and say.
Yentwa ensem no so na yenko na so yensa yechie na yensan so enko menstrual hygiene ensem emu na senior prefect Emma Sunyane Senior High School Dorothy Buachi echa na wada todwa ya watch se empempi no awofodo na entumi mpo enye sika mfa nto pad anasa mwasene emfa ma wo mo emma ne se unta desrede na wada to mampeni John Dramani Mahama ni mo se wabra betena so ye no hwe se wade one child one pad policy ebeba na ma eno so etumi aboa wo mo pa.
Some of our parents are not able to afford sanitary pads, so sometimes the girls go to the guidance and counseling units to go to our mistress to ask for sanitary pads, and lo and behold, they provide it. But then I would say to the parents that they should try their very best and try and provide it so that the girls won't fall victim to praying boys who convince them by saying they'll buy sanitary pads for them. At the end of the day, they sleep with them, they get STIs, infections, or get pregnant. We've heard about the One Girl, One Sanitary Pad project that the president has embarked on, and we heard that he started at Kumasi. And then I'm believing on behalf of the girls, both the Bunu region in our school, that if you could actually help us and bring it also to the initiative, the One Girl, One Sanitary Pad. I know that's going to help a lot of girls and parents who are not able to afford. So please, President, please continue.
The students is that they should show compassion to their fellow girls during this time of the month. Definitely, they will not know whether the lady is going through that or not. But then we have taught them some of the symptoms, some of the premenstrual syndrome that these girls go through before menstruation. So if a girl becomes irritable or a girl becomes moody, they would be more compassionate towards them, especially the boys. And then we would also advise teachers that when students are going through some things in the classroom, especially the girls, and they know that this is not attitudinal, this is not peculiar with that kid, it is important that they support this child and find out, who knows, probably this child is going through this period. And we would also plead with headmasters, school authorities to advocate that there is accessible facilities for these girls to use.
And you may know, see, I can see a ball and when you go to our share with CTV Ghana's #1 sort of follow ye on Facebook and so at my CTVGH. All I can watch share. Eddie Ama Obina one also in your beer and 27 so na yanko anymore. Ewan self for emo na yanko achim abumosuya no ewo itiwa Westminster emo na yanfaro hosemi and so emfa emau. Abetoja say abemo wedding fee and song na chese wakoto galamse amene bumene no watananum ewan siedu.
Many Mineral Development Fund Administrator, and all allied institutions and agencies, especially the security and the media. Said the bear a bit to me a ball, na yet to me a two Sanyamay Ase. Na an idea Hunune, Obiani Mochana. Aquada on Kebishi, Sabita Frache, Patons you mean. Obet my own penny, oh man. Ebiana by 20 years to come, on over DC and MC Ewa. Entini sentino yesra omanfo titiri ni wan a eye fo magudie we no ye wo mra ye de adwuma no obi an ka se ye mam kwan e mam nyo obi a okuta right mineral right o man bia no odi mra so wan a any people bia no wan na bu mra so because they do it with impunity because obi ya no asesa ne nema na okọ infidie ya na ensa kan de court wa west this assembly e owura ye bedi akira hu afidie ni wura ni ahwe se ono kurampo no eto asese otua ma ban no otua na
breko so kwankura wuro ma se bita frachi ohia brubru ba so fuma gudie ni etuhwe ye gina ha ya enkura be vintwani won se cars bi twetwem echama na slow down wo ma mutuo no ye wo ma motika asakese ma ayo modi enu nti na no akwara wadi mfie enso asantefo se obrimpon bi asase no bia na seyem papa Dr. Kwame Nkrumah odwane shashipum eno obeye omanpanyin kese a akware na no wokoto amna momatu almost ewo kurum enti akware yi di agora wakoto ma ahwere ne nkwan ye
Jedi ene sikasem kasiebo ena eduso no yemo eremwem na abeto dwa se Youth Employment Agency ni office ya ewo ebuakwa north na chese emfie beye ensonie wamo entu ayisegifo eka ne se wuntinkane ano wamo abetwem
Nene na regional office as Ebuakwa Municipal YE Director. The friend me Edmond Dua. Na me buy in fact the places are nice. So the major issue pa da ha kese a the baby sir former director no. But say it has been there for years, about 5.5 to 6 years. There is no electricity. Electricity no. Bill at the outstanding bill almost 5,500. So I was even asking how they were working previously before now. Electricity in here, and the outstanding bill is almost 5,500 for over 6 years now. And you know, the challenges they do have form one tiles, carpets and there is not even a single computer, not even a single printer or photocopier or nothing. So the office, in fact, needs help. Your best stress, I can't so be percent of the work on the Youth Employment Agency. You may say I'm paid for now. I'm about the year you are Magana, so some boy Ghana, Jumano, the two things that the boy so coming. Yet the year be coming. It's a some contributions and my personal stakeholders here. I would not like to mention their names. Medical and I got my name last Friday. Also a promising. Maybe a promising towels. Maybe a promising to pay the electricity bill.
Yenko wie kase ebo no ewo nkrofo kro ene enkrofo aman eso yedo eko Gaza man no emo na enyina yenim se Gaza man no wayo man bi abepem na naso ye kase no entokwa edaso a ekoso ewo Gaza man no emo nam so ama webetu dwa krampa na wo kye se no ekompa ena esi Gaza man ni mu a enye asem kuma sanso ena nipa dodo na so na ehwe mo a ye hu wo na amanebo ya beto epono so ekire se ekwo bi anase activists bi a wo ewo Paris enrada wo edebetu dwa HSS sadiantokwa eni pinche no akọ no ho no anasama no homne so ewa Gaza man ni mu ne ho behia se empenifo e betena ase na ye de sa okon anase ntokwa no etimi ede abawieye na ya de se wo ekita placards ahodo ya na woye kire pa ede HSS ni ayekoso ewa Gaza man ni mu no enya de se wo eni eje ho na ekwa ahodo eneka wo ho ebomu ya ebi eye Greenpeace Oxfam eye Amnesty International ene ekwa hudo yi a eka ho ebie na woka wo ho bomu a wode woye kire ehhehye so na obra woye kire no ekoso no wutimi hu se ensio ya ewo eye efide na se fountain ni mu no na kire se wo ede kala bi mpo ekokọ ede egumu ya ensio na ba ni nyina no eno no ekokọ no kire se wo mani abre papa na se ebeka ya eye wo October busumi ni mu no 2023 ni mu no na kire se Israel for wo eni Hamas ntokwa no wo etwetwe so kaka ne nyina enam eye kasa na se meeting wo mpanifo ede wo ekoye na eye Israel for ehye se ade se wone wo ebeko akopem se eye Hamas no wo bese ho nyina anase Hamas kro no na kire se ebesei na wasabrem no wo kire se hostages anase omanfo a yachi wo esie ye no na we nipa makom edwenu ewotwi anase edwenum ewotwi 58 de yaka se ne de emu bi ebaye wo October busumi de toso enson wa fimpimie no ene edwenu miensa no emu Kasie bono esi kaisi stream live on Facebook and so at my CTVGH for like na so share fama obi na wono so enye bi enhwe manye no aki ene midin madase amomo ene sha edin
On to the 6 p.m. news right here on CTV Ghana's #1. I am Elizabeth Adu. Let's move straight to the stories because the New Patriotic Party members in Parliament today sang ahead of the Office of the Economic Organized Crime (EOCO) here in Accra, demanding the release of the Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entwibosiako, known as Chama Wontumi, who has been in custody of EOCO since last Tuesday, May 27, 2025. The members of Parliament, led by Alexander Fenyo-Markin, are protesting what they describe as unfair and excessive treatment of Wontumi, who has yet to meet a 50 million Ghana cedi surety, Ghana cedis bill plus 2 sureties. Speaking on the floor of Parliament before moving to EOCO's office, Alexander Fenyo-Markin called on EOCO to revise the bill conditions.
We are protesting and will not be part of the deliberations of the floor. We are walking straight to EOCO in solidarity with our chairman that enough is enough. We expect you, the media, to accompany us. We are not going to sit in our cars. We are walking. We want the whole country to know and see and witness the injustice, the excesses, and the exercise of discretionary power. They're doing it to the Chief Justice. They are now doing it to me. We don't know who next. So we need to tell the government that it should rather focus on governance and stop this arrest. In any event, we are not against accountability, but accountability must be done through due process, through the rule of law, through respecting the rights of persons involved. EOCO cannot claim that the person who is being investigated should bring 50 million worth of property before he gets bail. When you know this person with a fixed place of abode, you know the person as a public figure who will not run away, especially when he made himself available to the police and you use Rambo style to arrest him.
We'll be speaking to our parliamentary correspondent, Havila Kekeli, who has been following this protest today. But before that, President John Dramani Mahama has assured trainee nurses and teachers across the country that government will soon commence the regular payment of monthly allowances, popularly known as Alawa, along with full arrears dating back January. Addressing a deba of chiefs and residents at Tetegbu in Bono East region as part of his thank you tour, President Mahama disclosed that the Ministry of Health is finalizing systems to integrate trainees' allowances in the Controller and Accountants General's payroll for consistency and transparency.
For the establishment of the University of Health and Life Sciences here in Kintampo. We believe that technical education is essential for industrial growth and job creation. And with these institutions, we aim to bridge the skills gap and create opportunities for the youth of the region. And on the issue of Alawa, thank you. I knew this is the response Alawa is going to trigger. Let me assure you that the minister has made adequate provision in the budget for the payment of allowances. And the allowances will be paid from January. And so you'll get the arrears. When we pay the allowances, you'll receive the arrears. But what has delayed it is that the minister is putting in a system so that you'll be paid through the Controller and Accountant General, so that every month when workers receive their salaries.
Before we continue with the President Thank You tour in the Bono East region, let's go back on the phone lines and speak to our colleague Havila Kekeli, who has been following the march past by the minority leaders in Parliament. Havila Kekeli, good evening.
Good evening, Liz.
Can you walk us through how the members of parliament boycotted parliamentary proceedings today and marched to the Yoko's office?
So it all began when the minority leader, Alexander Asenyo-Markin, wanted to make a statement on the arrest of the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. But then an objection was raised to that, to the effect that he didn't use the appropriate channel for that statement to be admitted on the floor of Parliament. The presiding speaker, Honorable Ahiafo, that is the Speaker Ahiafo, upheld the objection. This actually got the minorities outraged, for which reason they staged a walkout. The minority leader then addressed the press here in Parliament, pointing to the fact that they were marching straight from Parliament to the Yoko head office. Immediately after that, they moved together in their numbers, numbering about 30 of them around the time, staged a walkout and walked straight to the Yoko office. It was quite a scenery at the Yoko office as when they got there, they started singing and chanting, sitting on the road. Due to their numbers there, the police had to block the road, but then the security presence there was quite a bit strong, I would say, with that is the police water tankers and the other police officials were there. They started mobilizing some irate youths from Osu and Nima. And another thing which happened was that a member of the Fix the Country, Ralph, was there, but then the crowd there wouldn't want him there because they felt that he was anti-NPP, so the police had to whisk him away. They were hoping that Chairman Wontumi would be released by Yoko, but then that didn't happen until I left.
Okay, so can you tell us how many hours or minutes did it take the members of parliament to walk from Parliament to the Yoko's office?
In fact, walking the stands from Parliament to Yoko office is just 16 minutes.
Okay, so did any of the Yoko's officers come out to speak to them?
After the time I left there, around 5 o'clock, there was no such engagement. Okay. But then the minority leadership and the NPP party leadership were trying to get an audience from officials of Yoko, but that didn't materialize till I left.
Okay, so can you actually describe the atmosphere and what exactly did any other issue happen when they got there?
Nothing really, except that they were chanting, and fires outrage some of the youth they mobilized from Osu, from Jamestown, and Nima. It was becoming quite chaotic.
Okay.
When some of the youth there actually blocked one of the police vehicles from moving. And then again, when Ralph came there, that actually agitated some of the crowd, the members of the crowd there who actually charged on him. They wanted to manhandle him in a way, but the police quickly whisked him away. These are the scenery, except that the minority, that is the members of parliament, they themselves sat on the road and to the effect that they were never going to leave until their chairman, that is the Ashanti Regional Chairman, was released from the cells of Yoko.
So can we describe the walk as peaceful, or was anybody arrested?
Not to, I didn't see anyone arrested at all.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kekeli, for bringing us the latest on what happened from the members of parliament, the minority side in parliament, on the MPP who marched from the office to the Yoko's office to protest against Chairman Wontumi, who has been arrested since last Tuesday. Let's still go back to President John Dramani Mahama, because he also issued a stern warning to the metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, stating that the use of any district assembly command fund will now directly be determined whether they will retain their position or be dismissed.
As we prepare Ghana's next medium-term development program 2026 to 2029, I urge all our MMDCs to take leadership in facilitating inclusive consultation. The Minister of Finance is about to release the first quarter of the District Assembly's Common Fund. And as I said, and the Minister said, 80% of the money accruing in the fund is going to go directly to the regions for you to decide how to use it. So MMDCs, you have no excuse. You are going to get your full money. We're sending you the guidelines. Cabinet approved it at the last cabinet meeting to show you how the money has to be disbursed. And we're going to use it as your key performance indicators. Every year we will see what you've done with the District Assembly's Common Fund, and based on that we'll decide whether you stay or you go. Development cannot thrive without security. We are aware of the challenges in the eastern corridor of Bono East, particularly around the Atebubu and Manteng area, Sene East and West, and the Pru districts. Highway robbery and armed robbery has become rampant. In response, I have directed the Minister for Interior and the Inspector General of Police to deploy additional security personnel to those areas where robbery has become rampant. We will also provide the police with patrol vehicles and communication equipment so that they can keep you safe. We're also going to strengthen community policing and intelligence gathering in order that we can reduce the incidence of armed robbery. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of justice and protection, and we will not rest until every community in Bono East feels safe and secure. This year, on 1st July, we will hold a National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving.
Speaking during his thank you tour in the Bono East region. Afriye Ankra has praised President Mahama for instituting Ghana's National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving, describing it as a bold step forward, national unity. Speaking to the media, Mr. Ankra said the initiative transcends political, ethical and religious divides, uniting Ghanaians under the theme reflects, reset and review the national prosperity.
Again. Today we stand before you not as politicians or professionals, but as citizens with a burden and as believers in the soul of the nation. By the inspired leadership and moral conviction of His Excellency, our President, John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, July 1st has been instituted as Ghana's National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. It's a bold and unifying decision that invites all of us, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or political affiliation, to gather around a single fire of purpose, gratitude, and hope. This is a sacred moment, and it comes to us under a profound national theme: reflect, reset, and renew for national prosperity. That again. Reflect, reset, and renew for national prosperity.
That was Elvis Afriye Ankra. The Ghana National Association of Teachers under the renewed pressure to push for improved conditions for teachers as education stakeholders at its 4th Quadrennial 55th Delegate Conference in New Edubiase called for urgent government intervention. Addressing delegates at the National Conference in the Adansa South District, the CEO of Student Testing Services, Zia Odro Asabre, described the working conditions of teachers under the double-track system, describing it as a silent crisis threatening both educators' well-meaning and academic outcomes.
Government has to initiate action to compensate all senior high school teachers who were on the double track. It must be done and must be done now. Some teachers have died because of the stress they've gone through in the double track system. And from all indications, the double track system is not going to end anytime soon. For the next 2-3 years, it will be with us. What are we doing to compensate teachers who are on the double system? There should be a compensation for teachers on that line. Any future development in our schools must take note and make sure that adequate and decent washrooms are provided for teachers. So we are not saying provide us boundaries, but at least a decent washroom. Just imagine a teacher in a washroom and get an unexpected visitor. A snake descends on that teacher. What will happen? This teacher will walk out naked, and that will be the end of such a teacher. So in developing our facilities in our schools, we must take measures to ensure that adequate washroom facilities are provided for our teachers.
On her part, the Vice President for NAT, Lucy Amanda Asamoah, addressed the growing mistrust among some members who believe the association is aligned with or any government.
Since I have been scouting all the conferences, it has come to my attention that people are accusing the national executive as having been in bed with the government, and so we are not being pragmatic and proactive. But let me tell you, just as I read from the rules of our constitution, we are self-dependent. We are not supposed to be in bed with any government because our constitution frowns solely on it. Now let me explain something with you. However, we drink tea with them. Please take me on record. Now governments have changed. NDC government and the presiding president is our president. We have to drink tea with him, and when we went to drink tea, we got 10% for our members. Yes or yes? Haven't we all received the 10%? So please, don't let your minds to be brainwashed.
That's the Vice President for NAT, Lucy Amanda Asamoah. Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of administration, Nana Oye Bampoado, says the Mahama-led government remains committed to working with civil society organizations to promote exclusive governance. Speaking at a multi-stakeholder engagement organized by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Nana Oye stressed that governance must not only be inclusive but also accountable and effective.
This session reminded us of an essential truth, and it is that governance must be people-centered. And public feedback mechanisms like this should no longer be optional or sporadic. They must be a permanent feature of our democratic practice. They must ensure that every voice, especially from the grassroots, is represented in the national policy conversations. This government is also demonstrating its resolve to address corruption, which the people and we have all said should be prevented and should be reduced. And so we saw the launch of Operation Recover All Loot. This is a case in point, an unprecedented initiative to investigate and recover the proceeds of corruption. And this reflects not just government stance, but also the shifting public expectations around integrity and around justice in governance. In just over 4 months, President John Dramani Mahama has prioritized participatory governance through a series of national fora. The first was the National Economic Dialogue in March, which brought together stakeholders to propose actionable solutions for macroeconomic recovery and growth. Then we have the National Education Consultative Forum, which was launched in February and traveled throughout the country, and which sought to shape inclusive reforms for our education sector.
That was the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of administration, Nana Oye Bampo Ado. Let's do some international news. The Trump administration says it will go to the Supreme Court on Friday if it's unable to block the tariff ruling. 3 judges ruled on Wednesday that Trump overstepped his authority when he used an emergency law to impose tariffs on nearly every country in a major blow to his economic policies. The ruling raises the real question about whether Trump's wider so-called reciprocal tariff will ever come into effect. Writes over or economic editor, the case was launched by the group of U.S. businesses and states and leave the White House with 10 days to formally reverse the levies. Moment after the ruling, the Trump administration said it was not for unelected judges to decide how to properly address a national emergency. What are tariffs? What did the court say and what happened? There's only our 148 words explainer. That's from the Trump administration.
This session.
That's all for the news right here on CTV Ghana's #1. For more news and update, do log on to classfmonline.com. I am Elizabeth Adu. Good evening.